There's always this question going on. Well, first of all, the existence of God is God real or not real? Does he exist or not? And then if he does or she does exist, is she with form or without form? What is true? And it's an ongoing quest for everybody, of course. These days, many people don't really believe in God, and many people do, and they all have very different ideas. It's very interesting to me because any time that people who are interested in talking about the subject get together, do you believe in God or is there a God? I think the first thing that has to be determined is, what do you mean by that word? Nobody knows what God is. That the sages who have had the experience of God say that you can't trap him in words, that God cannot be described, that words fail. Why? Because words are within time, space, and causation. They need those three things in order to make sense, to be laid together to make a statement. And God, ultimately, according to the sages, is one without a second. He's non-dual in the highest understanding, the highest realization. And so in that state, the mind can't even conceive of one without a second. The mind always needs those three components, the subject, object, and the relationship between the two in order to conceive of something. And when you have something that doesn't have those three components, the mind can't conceive of it. So the question and the conversation is really kind of moot in that way. But if we bring it down to a human scale, then really it is for up to us to determine what is the divine to us, and how do we feel about that to us. And, to the person who's like not sure, then just consider you are not God in your ego self, but everything else that's not you could be considered God, could be considered the divine. And it would be a good practice to say everything else and beyond. But there's a conversation that goes on in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna that I wanted to share that has some beautiful pointers on this. A young man who's part of an organization that believes in God without form, the formless God, and believes that it's idolatry to have a form or an image of God. He comes to Sri Ramakrishna and he asks this question. He says, "Sir, is it good to worship God with form, an image of a deity made out of clay, a statue as such?" And the master responds, "You do not accept God with form, and that is all right." All right, so he brings it to the individual. He says, for you do not accept God with a form. That's all right. Don't trouble yourself about that. Don't go beyond that. It's all right. You do not accept God with form. That is all right. The image is not meant for you, right? If you don't believe in it, it's not helpful for you. It's not for you. That's all. Don't get in a twist about it. For you, it is good to deepen your feeling toward your own ideal. And this is a wonderful lesson for religious folks. It is good for you to develop within you your own ideal. And those things that you don't believe or don't think, well, they're not for you. They are for someone else. They are helpful to someone else. They are tools that God or the divine or whatever you want to call that is using to bring those people to their full understanding, to their realization. From the worshippers of the personal God, you should learn their yearning, for instance. Sri Krishna's attraction to Radha. You should learn from the worshipper of the personal God their love for their chosen ideal. So he's showing the young man, he's saying, look, even though those things aren't for you, even though you may not agree with what those religions are teaching, maybe you don't believe what those religions believe, that's fine, that's not for you. But from those religions, you can still learn. Don't condemn them and throw them all away, not the baby with the bathwater. Appreciate them for what they are. You may not believe in the God with form that they are worshiping, but you can see the deep love that they have for the divine through that image. You can see the depth of their devotion to their practice through that image. Appreciate that. Honor that. But you keep developing your own ideal and go forward. When the believers in the personal God worship the images of Kali and Durga, with what feeling they cry from the depths of their souls, "Mother, oh Mother!" how much love they have for the deity. You should accept that feeling. You don't have to accept the image. So you see, this is a wonderful map for how to be spiritual in a world of the spiritual. People who have all different kinds of ideas and all different kinds of practices. And you should know that God is big enough to be involved in all of those. He has not shrunk himself down to the size of your closed mind. He is bigger than you, bigger than your mind, bigger than your book. Every religion has its book. And whatever one you got first may be the one you decided to believe in. And then some Yahoo might have told you it's the only one. But no, he was a Yahoo. God is tremendously huge, and unconditioned love is exactly that. Unconditioned love, reaching for everyone and bringing everyone to their highest ideal without exception. God is love. There is no other way than that. But that way is all-embracing and defined in myriads of ways. It is freedom itself. Find that in yourself and be that freedom.